The Embracing Our Differences art exhibit, or EOD as it is commonly referred to, is an annual art exhibit located at Bayfront Park in Sarasota, Florida. This juried show is comprised of 50 pieces of artwork chosen from over 16,000 submissions from all over the world. Embracing Our Differences prides itself in representing different countries, abilities, and levels in their show, so that is what brings me here today. Hello, my name is Joanna Davis and I am the art teacher at Garden Elementary School in Venice, Florida. As a teacher that has been fortunate to have a piece of artwork selected for the 2018 Embracing Our Differences art exhibit, I wanted to bring you some tips and tricks on how to create a successful submission for Embracing Our Differences. These tips include how to talk about social justice artwork with your youngest elementary students, how to design and plan out a piece of artwork, and then lastly, how to submit that artwork. My hope is that by the end of this video, you not only have the tools that you need for all of your students to create a piece of artwork that is worthy of selection, but that you're inspired to talk about art with your students. Yes, even your youngest students. Now, you may be thinking, how does a 5-year-old implement a social theme into a lesson? Well, it's tough. Thinking deeply about topics is hard for elementary-leveled students, but definitely not impossible. I'm going to take you through the design process I used with a class of kindergartners that successfully had a piece chosen for the 2018 exhibit, and hopefully this will give you some inspiration to do the same with your students. When it comes to younger elementary students, don't be afraid to do a collaborative piece. A collaborative piece allows many children to have voices when it comes to the finished product. You may even want to have an overarching theme that your children work within, which is what I typically do, since coming up with multiple different topics in an elementary setting may prove difficult. In 2017, our school implemented a Kind is Cool campaign. We really wanted to embrace a we are all in this together type of vibe at our school, and we made every effort to create a sense of community throughout the building. In keeping with our school-wide theme, during the first few weeks of school, I introduced students to the book Only One You by Linda Kranz. This is a beautifully written and illustrated book in which a rockfish's parents are giving him advice for going out and being on his own. At the end of the book, readers are charged with making the world a better place. We brainstormed how we could make the world a better place. Love one another. Clean up your room when you're asked. Paint rainbows on buildings. Pick up trash. Those were some of the answers my students gave me. The kids really got into being kind to each other at school as well, which was perfect because it fit into our kindness campaign. This was when I knew kindness would be our Embracing Our Differences theme. I want to take a moment to say that talking to children about heavy topics is sometimes really hard. There are many times that I have found that when words fail me, a book has just the right message that I want to convey. Using children's books is something I do a lot in my classroom. This is a sneaky way for children to have conversations about tough topics, even when they're 5 years old. Some other books that I love to use in my classroom are Jeremy Draws a Monster, The Colors of Us, Badly Drawn Dog, Too Loose, The Chocolate Mousse, Sticks, and Teal. So find some books that inspire you or the theme or the message you would like to share with your students. And when you read, be sure to ask questions that dig deeper into the message of the book so that the children can comprehend what lesson they are learning. Make sure you ask open-ended questions like, what was your favorite part of this story? Or, if you could be anyone in this story, which character would you be? Or, what did you even learn from this story? The more you implement these conversations in your classroom with either literature or artwork, the more conditioned kids become to think deeper about both literature and artwork. Brainstorming what to create for our entry was not done in a traditional way as you would do with a middle schooler or a high schooler. These are little kids, so this portion requires a lot of hard work and guidance on the instructor's part. I knew I wanted to do a collaborative piece with a couple of entire classes of students. I had a class of kindergartners create the stones underneath, which would serve as our foundation. And then a class of third graders created the lettered stones that you see on top. For my students, this was important because it allowed every student to have their part in the creation of the artwork, and it personalized the process for them. Once the rocks were arranged on how the students wanted them, I snapped a photograph of their collaborative piece, sized it appropriately, and our entry was ready for submission. Let's talk about that submission process real quick. Your piece needs to be horizontal. That means wider than it is tall. If you're submitting digitally, your artwork should be photographed in high resolution at 300 dpi. Here are some other technical things to consider and some things that will set your artwork apart from the others. Number 1, choose your materials wisely. Crayon strokes on small pieces of paper may look fine, but when they're blown up to 16-foot banners, they may not look so great. So press hard and fill in all the spaces. Next, use solid, bright colors, unless dull colors are a part of your piece. Collages, paint, digital images, photographs, and marker look great on the large banners. Only use words when necessary, when they're a part of the artwork. Try your best to let the artwork do the talking. If words are used, be sure they are spelled correctly and do not overtake the artwork. Do not have children write their names on the front of the artwork. And last, try to erase all pencil lines and blemishes from the artwork before submitting because, again, these may not look so great on a 16-foot banner. Once your artwork is finished, photographed, and ready to upload to the website, don't forget to have your students create an artist's statement. An artist's statement should be a short statement about the impact this piece of artwork has on their life. For my youngest students, I love to use this template for their statement. Because we turned in a collaborative piece of artwork, we filled something out together that we discussed in class before submitting. One more thing about submissions. If you're submitting as a collaborative piece, it's a-okay to submit on behalf of an entire class. You do not need to list each student's name individually, unless it's a small group of students. One of the best parts of embracing our differences is going to view the exhibit at the Sarasota Bayfront, whether with your class on a field trip or as a viewer on your own. The Embracing Our Differences exhibit has had 3.3 million visitors since it began in 2006, and 397,000 students have come through on field trips. You may also apply for free field trips right on the EOD website. To ready my students for this field trip, I love to refer back to the Embracing Our Differences website under the Gallery tab to choose some age-appropriate pieces to dissect. I will go through the current exhibit with my students as well as poignant pieces from past exhibits to show them what they might expect. I will ask students to describe in detail what they see. I love this piece here. What do you see? Blue water? A hand sticking up out of the water, a boy, a camera, sand, motion lines. Then I ask my students what is happening in the picture. And sometimes it takes a while, but the message is usually conveyed, that we are too busy behind screens that sometimes we don't notice what is happening right in front of our faces. Allowing students to see the current exhibit also gives them talking points for when they see the pieces in real life. They shriek in excitement when they see something they recognize from a discussion in the classroom. This excitement is even more amplified when they see their own piece on a 16-foot banner. I hope this video gave you some tips and tricks on how to conquer the Embracing Our Differences design and submission process. I hope that you are inspired to create some beautiful artwork with your students when you return to school. All my best to you in this journey, and I can't wait to see your artwork at the 2021 Embracing Our Differences exhibit.